Madhu?
Yes.
Chalo.
We actually filming, everything is happening.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everything's fine. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Rama.
I'm a big fan of yours, actually.
Hare
The Symphony of the Soul, when I heard it for the first time, I don't know, just my heart exploded. I grew up with the classical background and I was studying music school. When we came here, it was all kirtan and traditional Indian instruments, and these two things kind of didn't connect too much for me. But when I heard
Well,
explosion for me, and I'm like, wow, it can be together both, you know, at
Oh,
the
yes.
same time. So thank you for
Krishna
that so much.
sambandhe yukta vairagya muchyate. We can do anything for Krishna, especially if we can do a symphonic orchestra and say Ishara Parama Krishna Sachitananda. If we can say it out loud, and what better way out loud, more out loud. Of course, you can do it with guitar amplified or distortion, but an orchestra is much more organic, much more natural. I recorded in Miami and in Venezuela. The choir, some songs like the Tulsi song, Gangeya Champe. Yeah, it's a very sweet melody. That was recorded in Alachua with devotees. And most of my family members are there. Mothers, daughters, sons, they're very musical, yes. Friends and so on. And so it was very intimate, very beautiful. But Chintamani and Nrsimhadev and Radhe and all those songs, yeah, those three mainly, which are very difficult. I did it with a choir of Venezuelan University choir. And I know the director, we have worked together before, and I told him what the project was, and he said, yes, let's do it. And I said, what are we going to do about the accent? They never heard Sanskrit in their life. So what I did is that I wrote everything in the way they say it, Narasimha, like that. A couple of days before, we had a meeting with the choir, and I introduced them to Krishna consciousness. I told them, listen, this is Sanskrit, and it deals with the spiritual world. You are chanting the most sublime mantras written hundreds and even thousands of years ago. They were actually very surprised. They didn't know what were they singing, and then that was a very good encounter, because after that they came totally prepared, and they sang everything in such a way that it was surprising to see them jaya sing. I said, wow, it's amazing how they did it spontaneously, powerfully, and it was a great experience. It was 75, 80 people, but we doubled the choir. So what you hear is really above 100, 150.
Yeah, sounds massive.
Voices, yeah, out loud.
Yeah. Nice preaching, no? Just why take them by one? Let's do the 100 people at once.
Yes, it was very nice. In fact, when we met after that, because once I did the record and it was released, I sent a box of CDs as a gift for them. And when I met them again, some of them had books in them, you know, they had Bhagavad Gita in their hand or a magazine or something. I said, they're great.
When you moved to Venezuela, you were quite small, right?
I was 2 years old.
Oh.
My mother was from Czech Republic, and my father was from Vienna. My grandparents are from Poland, and we're coming from the Jewish background. I was born in Israel.
Yes.
When my mother wanted to engage me when I was a small boy, when she was cooking, she would put, this is something you don't know, kids. It's the 78 RPM records, one on top of the other. And she actually taught me the names of 4 or 5 composers classical composers, and my duty, she would assign me, you listen to it very careful, and you tell me who's the composer. And how would I know? So I played the game, I heard very carefully, and then I said, it was Beethoven. He said, no, it was not Beethoven, it was Schubert. Okay, now listen to this and tell me the name of that one. And I trained my ear in such a way that either I got it right or wrong, it doesn't matter. There's contact with the classical music. And then my mother sang beautiful. My father played piano, not expertly. He knew how to do melodies. So I sat on his lap when I was a kid, and I would take the accompaniment.
So parents are not professional musicians, but you had a lot of music in your house.
That's correct. So I also grew up with the French music, Italian music, and then being in Venezuela, geographically influenced by, of course, the native music, the Brazilian music, the music of Motown with Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles, and then the music from England, Genesis, Yasoda, and of course Beatles.
Question is, how do you connect? You don't sing about Krishna all the time, right?
I do, but they don't know.
They don't know.
Because what happened is that first of all, ISKCON went through difficult stages that I could not handle, and also I couldn't handle some social interaction, and that took me to make a decision. As soon as I lost a little strength, spiritual strength, my musical inspiration came, and I decided to do music. Was it a good idea? I am over that question. I understand that Krishna has his plan. Krishna is not conventional. Just look at him, he plays flute, he has a peacock feather in his crown, and he takes the Yadu dynasty back to the spiritual world in very particular ways. So he's not conventional. So I think that he guides his devotees in ways that may not be conventional. And I think I am one of them. So what happened is that I started to do professional. I entered Grihastha life also, so I had to maintain. The stars conspire in my favor. Krishna gave me the blessings and I became successful. Was it an easy road? Not at all. But one thing happened to me is that I started to relate with people, and they hear my love songs. They don't know that this is a relationship between the soul and Krishna, just like when George Harrison sang, "Something in the way she moves." He could not say he moves because they wouldn't understand. Another thing that I've done always is that I forgot about the public. And I asked for always to put me 2 spotlights. And those spotlights happened to be the eyes of Krishna. So I started to sing, and I was looking at those eyes. So I was offering my song and my heart to those eyes, meditating on Krishna.
You have your tricks?
Oh, it's a survival technique. It was not easy. In fact, while I was doing that, some of my peers, God brothers who, in fact, some of them knew Krishna consciousness from me. Now they went, from Shraddha to Sadhu Sangha, to Bhajana Kriya, to Anartha Nivriti, and they went just escalating, and I was stuck. I couldn't get rid of my anarthas and of my defects. I can see that the chapter is closing and a new chapter in my life is opening. I am entering into what I understand it is the Vanaprastha stage, and I'm very happy to welcome it, especially associating with beautiful devotees like Vaisheshika. Vaisheshika Prabhu, I told him that I cannot live without him. I am stating it publicly. Well, we do kirtans together. I invite myself to go to Japan, and I take my little keyboard synthesizer, and I try to generate an environment of friendship and affection. And I do that when I do my kirtans wherever I go.
Excellent.
Let me see it. Is this too high for you? Jaya rādhā-mādhava. Can you go there or not? So we do it in two voices. Yamuna-tīra, we can sing together. You see what I mean? But I don't know. And we should do spontaneously, so it's not something too arranged.
We're not arranging, we're just talking right now.
Okay, take one and only.
kuñja-bihārī, jaya rādhā-mādhava, kuñja-bihārī, jaya rādhā-mādhava, kuñja-bihārī, jaya gopī-jana-vallabha, giri-vara-dhārī, jaya gopī-jana-vallabha, giri-vara-dhārī, yaśodā-nandana, braja-jana-rañjana, yaśodā-nandana, braja-jana-rañjana, yaśodā-nandana, braja-jana-rañjana.
Do you know what we're going to do?
I was thinking to do it just as
Interview.
not an official interview, but just a
Talk.
like friends would talk.
Why
Because
not?
I'd like to think very much that we are friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very fantastic singer from Russia. She's welcome to our program. And of course, Madhu is in the back. He's the intelligence behind all this and the creative power. If you hear noise, it's because
Somebody's building the house.
somebody's building a house. Welcome to